Go.
Everyone please stand. Mr. Tweed, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
Yes, sir.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would everyone please remain standing for a moment of silence? Thank you. Now let's call the meeting to order, please. I would like to get a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The agenda for June 17th is approved. Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of May 13, 2014, the regular school board meeting? Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes of May 13th are approved. Mr. Carter, we have a recognition for schools with the highest percentage of attendance.
Yes, for the month of May, June, St. Charles Elementary had the highest percentage of attendance with 97.8%, and Jonesville Middle School came in second at 94.4%.
Congratulations to those schools that I mentioned. We enter now our public expression. Remind anybody that comes forward that you are allotted 3 minutes to express your thoughts. And the floor is now open.
Carter, members of the board. I'll get right straight to the point. In February the 4th, at approximately 6:30, I went from Millsboro Hospital emergency room, and I was there until about 11:30. 11:30, the doctor in the emergency room said, "We're going to admit you." I was there from 11:30 Tuesday night until approximately 1:30 Thursday afternoon, which is about 36 hours. A few days later, I called Washington National to apply for the policy benefits that I had. A couple of weeks later, I got a letter back saying that I had been denied. So I called them and asked them what I need to do. They said, "We need to fill out some forms." They sent them, I filled them out again. Got denied again. Called them again. What do I need to do? They said, "Go to the hospital and get us some forms from them." I did that. Got denied again. A couple of weeks later, I called Todd Cox, who I think is the person that works this area now. He said, "Let me call the president of the company." Called her. He said, "I'll call you back tomorrow." But 3 days later, I hadn't heard from him, so I called him back. He said, "Well, she said you need to do a handwritten letter to the claims department explaining exactly what happened." I did. Now, I took this policy out in 2008. Well, a couple of weeks later, actually about a week and a half ago, I got a letter back again saying I've been denied. I had this policy since 2008. I went to a lady over at Millsboro because I was told that the reason I was being denied is because the doctor had put observation on my check-in. And like I told them, they observed me in the emergency room, but when they got me in there, they did MRI, EKG, and all sorts of things. I said, that's not observing me, that's being a doctor to me. So she said, well, unless that's changed. So I went over to the lady one of the administrators in Millsboro, and she said, well, in 2010, it got changed so that doctors and insurance companies could work together, and if they put observation on when you're checked in, if they do not change that to admitted, then you're not admitted. I said, no matter how long you're there, this is right. Okay. So since then, needless to say, I've not been happy with them. I sent a letter out through task stream actually about 2 weeks ago to everybody on the task stream, telling them what happened to me. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. Everybody's own choice. I would strongly suggest that everybody check their policy if it's before 2010, because they grandfathered me in 2010, which I think is illegal. I don't think you can do that. So why don't I get a lawyer and check it out, because it would cost more to get a lawyer than it would the $1,300 they owe me. But anyway, that's basically my complaint. And I know, you all have nothing to do with what they charge and all that stuff. I realize that, but you do have something to do with who you let into the county. Now, if it's just me, and I've got 2 other people contacting me and said they had problems with it. If it's just 1 or 2 problems, then I guess so be it. But if several people were to contact you about Washington National and have a problem, again, and everybody can do what they want to do, but I would suggest that maybe Washington National not be allowed to come to Lee County, because our teachers work hard enough for the money. And one last thing, and then I'll sit down. When the gentleman sold me the policy, I kind of made a joke. I said, so 24 hours and I get paid $1,000 plus $300 a year. I said, so if I stub my toe and they put me in the hospital for 24 hours, I get $1,000 plus $300. Yes, sir, you do. I said, nothing, no problem with that. No. But then she said in 2010, that observation thing. So I also blame the doctor, because he should have said we're admitting you as observation, and there's nothing really I can do about that. But Washington National could be a problem. So I would just advise everybody to look at it, and if y'all would look at it and do whatever for the good of the teachers, I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Carter, Board. I'm Pastor Jason Ivey, pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church in Ewing, Virginia, and I come to you today concerning the letter that was received by the ACLU. And I'm not here as a pastor. I'm here as a concerned citizen and a lover of history and an American. And I have supplied you with a copy of Gibbs Associate Law Firm regarding the 10 Commandments and posting in the public school system. And as the ACLU has stated, as stated in the copy there, they consider it against First Amendment rights, and of course all that was true. But if you'll just notice with me, the last paragraph says, if the school district truly wishes to provide an educational display of historical documents influencing American history, it could include the 10 Commandments, a broader grouping of educational documents that might portray, for instance, documents influencing American legal development. The group might include the Mayflower Compact, the Declaration of the Independence, the Bill of Rights, which is hanging at Thomas Walker. The Bill of Rights is there. The Constitution, the Magna Carta, or other documents along with the 10 Commandments. It could then be argued that the variety of documents make the display educational with a secular purpose rather than a religious display with a religious purpose. However, even with these additional documents, I cannot guarantee that a court would uphold the constitutionality of the display. Now, I'm here to ask you if you would consider displaying this for educational purposes only. And I would be willing, and I have people in my church would be willing to donate the other documents, whatever it took. So that's not money that's coming from the school board to be displayed. And I understand you all will have the final decision on that, but I just want to encourage you. I believe this would go a long way in our community. As you well know, a lot of people were upset with what took place, and I think things were done in a decent way. And I just want to approach you as I said, not as a religious leader in any way, just someone who thinks that our children are to have the opportunity to learn the history of our nation. And as you know as well as I do, that these 10 Commandments are just as important in the history of our nation as these other documents. And so I'm just asking you if you would consider displaying these back at Thomas Walker. And like I said, we would be willing to do whatever it takes to help you financially and in any way. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your concern, Mr. Ivy, and I think speaking for myself and probably everybody else up here, I think it would be something that we would visit along with our legal counsel and discuss. We were talking earlier, I think the ACLU letter's done more to get people to talk about the 10 Commandments than it hanging on the wall at Thomas Walker, so.
You're right. You're right.
But I appreciate it. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on to our report section. The Advanced External Review, February 15, 2015 through February 18, 2015. Mr. Clark.
I just want to continue to remind the board that we do have an Advanced Ed External Review visit scheduled for February the 15th through February the 18th, 2015. Actually, our accreditation expires on June 30th, 2015.
We have an update on the OEI legislation.
Mr. Chairman, the Virginia School Board Association has informed us that Judge Charles E. Poston of the Norfolk City Court has ruled in favor of the VSBA and the City of Norfolk School Board and held that the OEI legislation is unconstitutional. Of course, a copy of the judge's opinion is attached to your information there.
Okay. We also have the ACLU letter and their response.
Yes, you have a copy of the ACLU letter and the response from our legal counsel to the ACLU in your packet.
The enrollment.
The enrollment at the end of the May-June report was 3,182 students. That's down 10 from last month, and it's down 10 from last year.
Our audit report, June 30th, 2013.
You have a copy of the memorandum that was sent to the county administrator with the school board comments attached there.
Any comments from the board on the audit? Financial report. Please.
Good evening. This is a summary of our financial activity for the month of May. Excuse me. Our state receipts totaled $2,081,655.55. Federal revenues and reimbursements received totaled $381,860.27. Local receipts were $174,197.70. Title I reimbursement received in the amount of $414.45, and insurance revenues of $318,393.95, for total revenues of $2,956,521.92. As of May 31st, we had received 77.09% of our estimated revenues for the year. Our general fund expenditures for the month of May, our payroll and accounts payable totaled $2,621,979.78. Title I payroll and accounts payable totaled $136,984.68. Head Start payroll was $92,532.66, and insurance payments totaled $328,938.13. Our total expenditures for the month of May were $3,180,435.25. As of May 31st, we had used 74.99% of our appropriations for the year.
Any comments? Questions? Thank you. On the action agenda items, on A, we are to consider approval of overnight field trips. Mr. Carter.
We have 3 overnight field trips requested by the Lee County Career and Technical Center for the FFA State Convention, for the FCCLA Nationals, and for the BSA Camden Rogersville. So we have recommended the board approve those.
Can I get a motion to approve those?
So.
I have a motion. I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
There wasn't one in here about San Antonio?
Second.
No. That one's just depending on how they perform the first one, correct?
No, this is the little girl that's already won. It's planning on going.
Okay.
That was at our last board meeting. Toilet paper grease.
Huh?
Was the toilet paper grease?
Yeah, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those trips are approved. On B, consider approval of the VRS resolution for retirement contribution rate. Mr. Carter.
Just like to ask the board to approve the resolution to acknowledge that the contribution rate effective July 1st, 2014 shall be the certified rate of 28.52%.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. On C, consider approval of the 2014-2015 consolidated grant application. Mr. Clark.
Mr. McCann has prepared the consolidated grant application for the 2014-15 school year, and we would like to ask the board to consider approval for the federal programs.
I've got a couple of questions, Mr. Chair, and I know you may not be able to answer them since, but do you know why Mr. McCann doesn't apply for the Part D, Subpart 2? Because it seems like part of that could be applied to us.
I'm not sure, but this application can be revised at any time. We can check with him and certainly find out, and if there's, if we can apply for it, it's something that we need to do, that we can do that, because it can be revised at any time.
Okay. And I noticed, and I have heard, that we may not have test stream next year, and I noticed this reference to test stream.
We are working to try to get ready to move to another program that we already have on our email. And we're not sure that we're gonna be ready next year, so that's the reason it isn't included.
What about Flanagan's there? I thought we kind of done.
We have done away with Flanagan. Be right.
Be changed.
Well, it can certainly be revised at any time.
And is there a difference between AMO and AMAO?
There is, both of them are annual measurable objectives, and the AMAO it's also annual, I don't remember the word,
I know.
but it's an annual measurable objective as well.
Okay, well, I didn't know if
Yeah.
that was maybe a typo or.
No, they do have two acronyms.
I know there's so many acronyms out there.
Did you get a motion?
Not yet, but I'll make that motion then.
Okay, have a motion, a second. Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. D, consider approval of a 3-year service agreement with Comfort Systems USA for Lee High School.
Mr. Chairman, we have two quotes for 3-year service agreements, and Comfort Systems USA is the lesser quote. We recommend the board go with them.
Make a motion.
Just a quick question. The agreements are compatible.
Yes, they are.
Comparable. I'll
Right.
rephrase that, comparable.
They are comparable, yes.
Okay.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. That agreement is approved. Consider approval of the VSBA policy updates, Ms. Adams.
Good evening. Mr. Carter, I'd like to ask that you help me with this. I'm not sure my voice and eyes even are going to get through it, with the allergies. But we have, you ask in your request, I did look through it, and did not try to make you a bundle of policies that only it was going to be a cross-reference or just a minor edit. So I did give you the 4 new policies, and also IGB GA, which was online courses and virtual school programs. So if you want those read aloud to consider them, that's what I was asking Mr. Carter on GAE, JHG, child abuse and neglect reporting, if that's necessary. The electronic cigarettes, new. Lactation support, new. And then the online course.
So I took it, Wayne, that anything new you presented to us, anything that was just updated, you did. Is that
That's right. That was my understanding is what you.
That was my suggestion.
That was a suggestion, and I thought that's what you had
That's fine.
suggested that I do. But if you want them all, I could tell you.
That's
I
fine.
was just trying to keep it.
That's fine. We've
To
had
the
some
minute.
discussion about eliminating paper, so that's fine.
Eliminate.
Any questions?
I tried to color it and still give you the summary explanation for all policies as to what was changed.
Any questions for the board? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the updates?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Save the day.
Consider approval of the July 4th holidays, 3rd and 4th, Mr. Carter.
Just like to ask the board to approve July 3rd and 4th as holidays for all government employees.
Make a motion.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. That is approved. School budget. Or lack of.
I have one. progress after months. Okay, in your budget, you have a proposed fiscal year 15 budget. This was based on the version approved by the Senate and was put together by our budget committee prior to the General Assembly approving the budget last Thursday. We don't yet know our numbers from that action. So when we receive those, our budget committee will get back together. We'll present another budget in July for approval by the board. We do have to approve the budget tonight by law and have that in place to present to our board of supervisors. We're required to do that. So this is the budget that you have in your packet. This budget is based on a projected ADM of 3,180 students for next year, and the composite index for the biennium of 0.1885, which increased from 0.1826, which means the county has to put forth a little more money to match what the state gives us next year, and for the next 2 years for the biennium. This budget includes a step raise for all employees, which will be at least 2%. There is no increase in insurance rates, which I think is the 5th straight year we have not had an increase in our insurance rates. But in our talking to our health insurance representative and our consultant, next year we will have to either increase our rates or look at changing our benefits. We're at that point. This budget also includes a VRS rate increase of 28% for professional staff and 13% for support personnel. We received notice 2 weeks ago from Old Dominion that their rates are going to increase 6%, so that increase has been included in the budget. We've included the purchase of 2 buses in next year's budget, and we have a carryover in our textbook fund of $620,000, which we can use toward our new science adoption, in addition to the new money we will receive in our state budget. The total of next year's proposed budget is $39,292,036, which is an increase of $1,690,935 over our current budget. Happy to attempt to answer questions if anybody has any. Or I'll refer them to other members of the budget committee to do so.
Denise,
Yes, sir.
you said the budget included 2% raise there for teachers. Is it also for
It's a
support
step
personnel?
increase, which will at
Yeah.
least be 2%.
Yeah. Does it also include anything for support personnel?
That's across the board. That's everybody.
Thank you.
Denise, on the salaries for nurses and salaries for teachers' aides, in the 13-14 budget column, doesn't match up to what's in the,
Those were 2 line items where we have surpluses this year. So what I did was take the projected expenditures for this year and add the 2 or 2.5% to that to give the step increase to folks we currently have employed.
what about the increase in the technology equipment line item?
That is through the VPSA from the state.
And of course, my continual one about supplying printer cartridges to the teachers outside of ADM money. Particularly if they're having to print off 82-page lesson plans.
I think it's your school board check.
Oh, okay. I think I sort of do that anyway.
Any other questions or comments? Have a motion to approve this budget.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Want to thank everybody, the budget committee, and Denise and Mr. Carter for all their hard work.
Not real easy putting together a budget when you don't have any idea what you get.
Ms. Silver?
We spend a lot of money if we don't have it.
Thank you, Denise. You want to go on with, consider approval of the VS.
I will tell you that we have that full wages turn out to be less. You get a credit.
And well, not just the band situation, but the 2 periods of math and 2 periods of English, and I've done some checking myself, and we were talking about that the 8-period day at middle school, and you mentioned that you thought the high schools there were on block scheduling, and
That's my understanding.
they are not on block scheduling, but they do 8 periods at the middle school. So there are 2 middle schools are not, and it seems to work out. My biggest concern is this. And I mentioned this last meeting, but I cannot, most 5th and 6th graders barely have an attention span of 20 minutes. And here we are trying to put them in a math class for 2 periods and an English class. Well, English is a little bit easier because it's split up to English and reading. And I just think it's too much. Too much on the kids, too much on the teachers. I know as a teacher, I had a hard time dealing with some of my students for 2 periods in a row. I don't mean that just because they were bad students, but it's hard to keep their attention. It's hard enough to keep it for 1 period. And I think, first of all, from what I understand, we're looking at this in the 6th grade only, and I understand that the test scores in the 6th grade at both Pennington Middle, I'm talking about the 6th grade now, Pennington Middle and Jonesville Middle were close to 90%. So it seems like, we were successful what we did this year, and I don't see why we can't continue what we did this year instead of having to throw in that extra math class and do away with an elective. And I really do believe that students need an elective class and, to take some classes to pursue some things of their own interest, such as art, choir, foreign language, band, whatever. That's my first point. And I would really think we need to really look into that. And I don't think that we're giving these band directors and who are fighting this equal time and say we're trying to run this like a dictatorship and telling them what to do instead of taking their input. And I want us to remember that those are the people out there teaching our children. Next thing, I'd like to thank Denise for really working on that budget. Seems like Kyle go along with me on this. We threw numbers at her left and right and cut things, added things. It's tough on us, and it's a lot tougher on her because she actually has to figure how things are going to be worked around to get the budget to work out. My last thing that I'd like to congratulate Lee High School on hosting the Eastern softball playoffs, Eastern State softball playoffs. Miss Warner, Jeremy Pendergraft, Ray Robbins, Brady Erie, and Krista Kimblin. I went up there to watch it, and it was almost like watching a Major League game. In between innings, they go out and clean the field, and it was done very professionally. And a lot of comments from people all the way downriver. And we've had to travel there several times, and it's about time they had to come down here. That's all I can say. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike. Ms. Jessie?
First off, I'd like to congratulate Justin Greer from Thomas Walker, who won the long and triple jumps at the regional 1A track meet. And also congratulate the graduates of both Lehigh and Thomas Walker and wish them success. And thank the retirees and the others not returning for their years of service to Lee County and the students. And a question, Mr. Carter, about the Spanish, particularly in the middle school, about are we looking at maybe switching from Odyssey Ware and that to the virtual Virginia course?
We certainly are, and we do have a Spanish teacher that we're ready to bring on board.
Well, but that might be for Thomas
Thomas
Walker,
Walker,
but I was
right.
thinking more of the middle
Right.
school type thing. Because, well, don't get me started on Odyssey Ware, particularly with foreign language.
That's right.
Mr. Chapman?
Also want to commend Denise for the work she does on the budget and thank her for putting up with me and Mr. Twigg. So that's quite a chore in itself. So thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Cal. Mr. Williams?
Yes, I'd like to make 2 or 3 comments here. Mr. Taylor, I want to make a comment to you, and that is, I don't blame you for being madder than Wiz. I work in healthcare, and seems to find out that one of the tricks of the trade to get more money out of people is to the way that the bill is sent, the doctors and so forth. And now they've got so they want to do surgery as outpatient and keep you 2 or 3 days in surgery. I mean, keep you in the hospital 2 or 3 days, but they can charge you as an outpatient all the way through. I have these complaints every day to me. Also on health care, I'd like to say this, that those of you not aware of it, there's 30,000 people, including several members of this board, who Wellmont is tomorrow night at midnight, unless a contract is signed, are going to tell some of their patients that they've had for 20 years that's got cancer, that's in the middle of treatments, that they no longer will treat them. And to start with, it, in my opinion, should be very unconstitutional, and it should be against the law to be able to do this right in the middle of the year. These people have no option. They cannot change plans. They cannot do anything. What's going on in healthcare, what I'm saying, is not a surprise to me, no matter what you come in and tell me there. So I wish that we could take care of that for you. I'd also like to thank you for coming up here about the Declaration of Independence. And I had many, many calls about this. Excuse me, the 10 Commandments. I had many calls about this. I told every one of them, just hold your horses. This is going to be the best day for Christians in this county that's been here in a long time. I've been going to Thomas Walker for 59 years, and I had never seen the 10 Commandments on the wall. But the next time I go in there, I will be looking to see where it was and what it was. So it has called our attention to it. I'd also like to thank the board members and Denise. And Denise, I know what you had to put up with here in these two. Because it's a miracle that you all come up here with much figures at all on this budget there. So I'd like to say thank you. And since really we're closing out the school year, I'd like to say thank you to everybody on the board and everything else. Maybe if nothing happens, we live through one more year here, even with Ty as chairman. Thank you.
I'd like to echo Mr. Twigg's concerns about the band. And I think that if we have a common purpose and a common goal, we can come up with a common resolution on that. So I think we can work something out there. And again, I want to thank Mike and Kyle and Denise and Mark for all their work with the budget. The teachers for their effort this year. Everybody that got us through another school year. And it just gets tougher and tougher, and the money gets less and less. I appreciate all the efforts of everybody here at the school board office and in the schools for everything they do.
Including me, just about what I said right now.
Just about what you said. Mr. Chad, would you read us into executive session, please?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go into executive session to consider personnel section 2.2, 3711A1, student discipline section 2.2, 3711A2, and threatening and pending litigation section 2.2, 3711A7 of the Code of Virginia.
You have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.